Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, excited to show you guys our progress with the Lego Union Pacific Shelton Depot. This is based off of instructions that I purchased from Jepaz on Rebrickable. Really big fan of their design work. We've built a number of their models in the past. We've got a whole bunch more to build, and this is turning into another excellent build. Really happy with how it's looking so far. So let's take a closer look and walk through some of the cool details that are in place and talk about what work is remaining to get this finished. Now, a couple details to notice here. First off, I've put this onto a Mills module base. It is 1.5 base plates deep and it's 2 base plates across. Not a bad footprint. I could have gone without the track portion on the front here, but I think it's really sort of crucial and, adds a lot to the building to have the guaranteed piece of track there. So, I've made that a part of this particular module. Really big fan of the tile work that is in between the depot building and the track here. Really nicely done. Love the color combinations. There's a few pieces I still need to finish up in there as we get the appropriate parts in, but really happy with how that's come together. And as we start to layer in some, objects, various sort of tools, equipment, etc. around the front part of the building here, in addition to some minifigures, I think that this area is really going to pop and shine. And I think the coloring for the depot building in the background there is going to be a good sort of contrast and backdrop to whatever I have going on in the front here. But it also just makes the building really stand out and pop as well, which I really love and appreciate. Big fan of Union Pacific yellow, and I think once we get a Union Pacific locomotive out in front of the building here as well, really happy with how this building is going to look and stand out around the layout. Other things to note here. The overall build, when it is complete, will use roughly 4,000 pieces. It's quite a sizable building, but you get a lot of details packed in for that. Worth noting, if we pull this out a little bit so you can see the side, that we have set up the track here on this module in such a way that it lines up with all the other track in our layout and will line up easily with other modules that other club members might bring to shows. So always something I take, sort of care of when laying out the foundation of buildings like this. Want to make sure that it's going to be easy to move around and, hook into not only our layout, but also layouts that we might collaborate in. And you can also see the track here is all ballasted and set to the correct height as well. So interfacing it with our layout and other layouts should be really straightforward. Other interesting things of note here. Really big fan of the green windows. I'm not sure, you can get a pretty good view of it there. I think the green trim on the windows, another really cool element, looks great against the yellow there. The unfinished details currently on the build, you can obviously see there's a few bits on the roof here that I need to fill in from a tile perspective as we get those last parts sorted out. But the main details that need to be finished up are on the inside. I've only sparsely done the interior so far. It's hard to see it from the outside here at the moment because there's no lighting or anything in it. So it was fine in this state for the show that I displayed it at, along with a number of our other buildings. But, we'll get that interior finished up soon. I would like to look at possibly adding some lights to this module. And, I think that will really help to sort of give it that extra bit of polish on the top and will make it easier to appreciate those interior details. Other things of note here, a little bit of work I need to finish with tiling on the sort of baggage goods platform on the side here, where those can be loaded into the side of the building there, or things can be brought out onto the platform. Still a little work I would like to do with firming up the roof. Jepaz does an amazing job putting together some really interesting roof pieces for his structures, but some of them, you can see there's a little bit coming apart there. I keep poking at that. That'll be something that I'm going to look to strengthen up a little bit, just to make sure it's easy to both put this roof on top of the building, but then take it off as well. This will, even just using it here in our layout, it's going to move around a bit. And then if we take it to more shows, need it to be sturdy enough to handle regularly. So, not a major issue, something I think we can get sorted out relatively easily, but just worth noting that the roof pieces sometimes need a little extra TLC to be robust enough to handle regularly, or at least moderately regularly. I do think it's interesting here. This roof lifts off and the front peak lifts off as well. A nice, interesting detail there for making the roof fully removable, and for making the interesting detailed shapes of this particular depot building. So I think it's really cool. It's interesting to see how they've gone about doing that. And, once we get these last little bits of tile in and polished up, I think this is going to look pretty amazing. One other note, at the moment on the front part of the roof here, I don't have the these extra little detail bricks that sit there to give that outer ledge that's kind of like eavesdropping on the building. Harder to get in yellow, so I'm going to be trying to track down some more parts there so I can get that finished off. But I've just gone with standard flat-edged Lego plate pieces in the interim, and we'll see if we can get some more of that siding, or that, can't remember the name offhand of this particular part, but anyways, that extra little groove there, we'll see if we can track down some more of those parts. Nothing too exciting to notice on the back here. We were missing a couple of the green edged larger window pieces on the back here. So there's some black ones swapped in for the time being, as well as some jumper plates on the bottom that are black. We will get those polished up as well, but on the back of the build, not something that people can generally notice or see. So not too bad for now, and we will tidy that up as we can. It's one of those things, some of these different builds, parts can be, have varying availabilities depending on where you are. So I'm always on the lookout for things that I can swap in the short term, and then, ideally in the long term, get things swapped out and set up the ideal way. So this building, it works out quite well. The back is not something that you see regularly, so easy to make that particular modification, at least for the time being. Other details worth noting, there'll be a door on this loading portion of the building here as well. And like I mentioned, we'll be tiling over this particular platform here, smoothing out some rough edges. And there's some really awesome details that'll be coming in soon, hopefully on the arch part of the roof here. Looking forward to seeing that. I think it's a really cool bit of extra detail. Not something that people might notice a lot, but something that I think I will appreciate having done and part of the finished build here in the layout. So overall, super happy with the Lego Union Pacific Shelton Depot build by Jepaz on Rebrickable. It's nice to have this starting to, enter the final phases of work on it. I think it's going to be an amazing addition to the layout. Looking forward to getting that lighting added so that we can really appreciate all of those interior details. And definitely a building that you're going to see a lot of around the layouts here in the Lego room, and hopefully again out at a train show or two. We will highlight this in upcoming videos as we get some of those final parts in and we get everything wrapped up. But just wanted to give you guys a tour through how the building is taking shape and how it's looking, so that you're not surprised when you see it around the layout and you know kind of where it's at and what we're working on with it. Now, if you have not checked out Jepaz's Rebrickable page, highly recommend doing so. A lot of amazing buildings and train instruction sets on there. I will include a link below. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Lots of exciting stuff ahead in the Lego room here. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.